my loves, I was at home cleaning, and all of a sudden, a rambling of a mambo hit me. And I was like going back and forth. And I was thinking about grief. I was thinking about, what do you call it when you're grieving a situation, and before you get done grieving that situation, and you have another situation that comes in, and then you're trying to grieve that, and then there's another situation that comes in on top of that. What, there has to be a name for it. So I had to Google it. My sister will laugh because I Google whenever I get confused about a lot of stuff. I'm like, okay, I got to Google and see if they have something that they call this. And it was cumulative grief or grief overload. And I was like, wow, makes sense. Basically, it is literally not even being able to complete one grieving process before you have to move into another grieving process. And with some people, it's compounded. This year, it is because we've lost so many people that we literally are going to one funeral, we are having a breakup, our car is getting repossessed, we're losing our job, and there's just this never ending cycle of grief. So we're dealing with the energy of it. Now, let me go back because I know I threw in breakups and cars and jobs. A lot of us tend to think when it comes to grief that grief is just basically losing someone that has transitioned. Grief could be going through a divorce, a bad breakup. It feels like a death. If you've ever gone through a divorce, it feels like something inside of you has died because there's a partner that is saying, I'm no longer going to be in your life, which is very, very painful. There's also a job where if you've been working a job for 20 years and they come back and they say, we no longer need you, or you're no longer productive, and you thought you were going to finish out your career there. Now financially you're struggling because you're been with a company for a long time, and now you're trying to figure out, how do I make my money? How do I support myself? That's a painful situation, and a lot of people go into grief and depression because of it. There's some people that literally this year are being evicted from homes that they've been in for a while. Um, we saw even with Puerto Rico when the hurricane hit it, land that had been in people's generation in their lives, or their family land, had been there for generations, and all of a sudden big corporations come in and it says, well, because you didn't have the paperwork to prove this, now we're going to come in and take this and build a hotel. So then you have these people who they're hurting because this is being taken away from them. I guess the whole thing about with grief is something that you're not ready to let go of, but it's going to be taken away and you're hurting. There's this phases of pain that come with it. So we are seeing it so many different ways this year, because not only are we seeing family and friends transition, we're also seeing people lose their jobs. We're also seeing breakups of marriages or relationships, where people are feeling this year is just heavy, which comes back to the grief overload. Too much is going on. So we have people that are breaking down in the midst of this because it's like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know how to deal with this, which brings us to the first stage of grief, denial. When you come to this phase, the first thing it is that the logical mind says there's a solution. There's something that can be worked out. I know it is, because my logical mind is telling me that there is a solution. So you sit back and you're saying, okay, I know that my marriage and my relationship is not doing well, but I'm going to go to counseling. I'm going to do more around the house, and I'm going to do everything I can, and this person is going to stay with me and love me. And then when the divorce papers come, it hits you because it's like, I don't want to accept this. I'm not going to accept it, and that's what denial is. I'm not going to accept the problem. There's a solution to it. I know there is. My logical mind is telling me anything can be fixed, so that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want a discussion. I don't need anybody to come in here and break things down for me, because it's not happening. In my mind, I'm not going to let it happen. When we deal with this with death, we have, family members or friends who are sick, and it's like, okay, they're in the hospital, they're given the medicine, doctors can do anything, and they're going to make this person better, and this person is going to come back. I'm not going to think about anything other than that, and that is the denial of it. The issue comes when we get to a place where the solution isn't there. And then it's like, okay, now I have to look at things and go, what are we doing? I'm confused. And I feel like the next stage of grief is anger, but I feel like it's anger slash confusion slash frustration. Because then once you come out of denial, you have to say, I don't understand why I can't fix this. There's a block. Where am I being blocked? So now it's like, okay, I'm upset. I'm upset with the doctors. I'm upset with my partner. I'm upset with God. I'm upset with the angels. I'm upset with the elves. Whoever has any type of connection to this situation that is not helping me, I'm upset with them. I'm angry. This is where you get a lot of people that literally pull away from God, because it's like, if you really existed, why would you let this happen? So now I have to be angry at you. And I think for a lot of us, we're just looking for some place to sit our shit. Like, who do we blame for this? Do we blame the universal God? Because, why would you let this happen? You know this is going to hurt me. You know that this is going to be an issue for me. Why would you let this happen? And so we go back and forth with that. Then we get angry at the people who maybe they've gone further in their grieving process and they're on acceptance, and we're still trying to get there. And so it's like, why are you telling me? Why are you talking to me? Why are you explaining things with me? I don't want to hear it. And it's because you're frustrated. Because there's a part of you that knows deep down inside, with everything going on, you're limited with what you can do. And for some of us, the limitation is there's a cutoff with it. It's like, okay, I just can't. I got to throw my hands up. There's nothing else that I can do that's going to make this work. So I'm going to be angry. Then if you have people who are in a position where they're the ones who feel like they're losing the biggest aspect of it. Say you have someone who is dying, or you have someone that is struggling with their health and they know that they're coming to the time and they want to live. They're angry. They're angry because they feel like their time is being taken away from them and they're not done. They still want to live. So there's a lot of, what do I do with this? What do I do with this feeling? I don't want to be angry at the person. I don't want to be angry at God. I don't want to be angry at the support team. Who am I angry? Do I get angry at myself? Do I blame me? Then I think that takes us to that next stage of bargaining. If it is me, how do I fix this? Do I say God, Jesus, whatever deity that you want to call on, I want to make a deal with you. If there's something I can give you that's going to make this situation better, I want you to take it, because I need you to make the situation better. Especially when you're dealing with a person who is struggling with their health. Do you turn to God and your spirits and you say, you know what? Take me, put it on me, because I'm stronger. I can handle it. My body is stronger. So I want you to take away from them their pain and their suffering and give it to me, because I think I can handle it. And then we wait. And in the bargaining thing, we're offering whatever, and we're waiting for that answer to come in and say, this is something that is going to open up, because I'm offering you everything that I have. I had a client a few months ago, and his daughter was sick, and he sent a message and he said, I will do anything. I will sell my soul to the devil if you can make her better. And it broke my heart, because from the spiritual aspect of it, I understand that sometimes things are set in place because there's a purpose. And regardless of if we understand it or not, it's not going to stop it from happening, because we're not ready for it. But it's one of those things where even in this situation with my dad, there's this thing of, What else can I do? What can I give that's going to make this better for him so that he doesn't struggle? You know, do I talk to God in spirits and say, my lungs are good, they're healthy, so I will take what he can't? And in my logical mind, that makes sense because bargaining does, right? Bargaining makes sense because you're basically saying, I have something to give you. I have an offering. If we have altars, if you have altars or things like that, you understand. I have offerings that I can give you. And if you accept it, I will give it to you, and you will let this other person be okay because I'm accepting responsibility of it. And that's the bargaining stage of grief. A lot of us stay in this stage for a while because we feel logically there is something that we can do. So we're going to do everything that we can because we don't want to lose a loved one. Even with jobs, there's been people who bargain. I can work harder, I can work overtime, I can do whatever I need to do, but I need this job. I can't let this go because my family is dependent on me, and it's going to be a struggle for me if I lose this. For people that are in a relationship and you're going through a divorce or you're going through a breakup, it's like, what do I need to give you to keep you there with me? Who do I need to offer this to so that this will work out for me? Bargaining, it seems so logical when you're in it because it still gives you hope. It kind of borders back to denial, that there's still something that can be done with this, so I'm going to do whatever I can so that I can move forward. And we do struggle with letting go or coming to the realization of it because we're not ready. We're not ready. A lot of us, we don't want to lose the job. We don't want to lose the relationship. We don't want to lose the person that we love. So we tend to make deals that to us seem logical because it makes sense to us. The reality of it is that there's a purpose, and then there's an ending with it. And sometimes, no matter how strongly we want something to work out, there's a higher power, higher energy that says that is not the structure of the way this goes. And so we're left with the confusion of trying to comprehend and make sense of things. And we kind of go back and forth with the anger, bargaining, anger. You're not answering me, so I'm getting more angry at you. You know, a lot of people pull away from spiritual beliefs or religious beliefs at this point because it's like you have the power to make everything better and you're not doing it. So why should I call on you? Why should I pray to you? Why should I give you offerings? Because you're not changing this. And sometimes spirit goes silent because I don't know if they're waiting for us to figure it out, but there's sometimes nothing, which makes the disconnect seem so much more painful because not only am I losing something, but now I don't even feel connected to my spirits or to my beliefs. So that leads us to the next stage of depression. How do I go on when I don't feel that this is going to be something that is going to work in my favor? How do I believe in you? How do I believe in the power of things that are being shown to me or taught to me when it doesn't work for me? So I'm pulling away. I'm going into hermit mode. I don't want to pray to you. I don't want to talk to you. And now I'm upset with the people that you're sending my way because none of them are doing anything that I need them to do. And I just want to be by myself and in my grief. I want to feel bad. And that's completely understandable. Depression is a place where we shut down sometimes, where we just can't make sense of things. I don't know what's going on, and I don't know how to fix it, and I don't know how to make it better. So I'm just going to stay here for a little bit in this limbo. and feel the way I feel because I don't know anything different at this point. Somebody brought up, because I've had the honor of being at a few people's bedsides more than I even want to admit when they were transitioning. And somebody was like, does it make you feel so depressed that you're a deaf doula? And I was like, not a deaf doula. Deaf doulas are people who help people cross over, transition peacefully. They're there. They, you know, give structure to that time so that the person can let go and let go with peace. And I was driving after that conversation, and I remember thinking, shit, I'm a deaf doula. And I honestly have to say, depression is probably the stage that I skip in grief. I can't ever say I feel bad that I need to stay there. I'm a type of person that either we solve it or we move on. So I think I skip depression and I move and I go straight for acceptance. This is what I have to do. This is how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to get it done because I have no other choice. I've gone through the stages of denial. I've been angry. I've bargained. And now my prayers or my offers were not accepted. So now I have to move to the next stage of, okay, this is where we're at. So this is what I have to work with, and this is what I'm going to do. Acceptance is not an easy stage because you literally have to come to the point of you reach the end of the process. There's no more, oh, I hope this is going to happen to this person, or I hope this is going to happen for this relationship. You come to the place where it's like, okay, this is happening, and now I have to deal with it. And it can be very heavy, especially if you are a person that helps people cross over, or you are a person that is there for them. And as a priestess and a Mambo, I don't think I've had the time to sit in depression because there's always someone who comes after that. And that's what I think the overload or the grief, the cumulative grief may come in for a lot of people is if you don't even have time to go through all the phases. How do you rectify, being balanced with everything and being okay with everything? Is it going to catch up with me somewhere down the line? Am I going to be 70 years old one day on a rocking chair and think about all the times that I didn't, complete the process? Is it going to hit me to where everything rushes in on me at once? I'm not sure. Acceptance for me is coming to a phase where it's like I'm open to the support. I'm open to the advice. I'm open to the therapy. Depression, it serves its purpose when you need to quiet things down, when you need to pull back because you have to inner reflect, self-reflect. Where am I at? How do I feel about this? And what is my next move? And that's where your support system does come in. Your family, your friends, your therapy. We have grief therapists that are there because they understand that phase and they can help you get through it. You can stop any phase in grief. And I've had clients that will stop in denial and stay there forever. I have some that are in anger and they're just like, I'm going to be angry until the day I die. And then I have some that have literally been depressed for 10 plus years because they're not ready to move towards acceptance. And grief is very personal and private. You have every right to go through it the way you want to. But I will say that if you are stuck in the anger and depression phase of it, you have to reach out for somebody because there are tools that will help you at least manage it until you're able to move forward from it. So if you need that, please reach out. If you need help with that, finding someone, I'm here for you. If you just even need someone to talk to, I'm here for you. A lot of you know this already. My inbox has not stopped since my dad has been sick, and it's because this is what I do. This is a part of I think my responsibility, and I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. Um, Acceptance for me is realizing that this is the place where we finalize things and we move things forward so that there's healing that comes with that. And you have to be ready to move into that stage so that the healing can come through. Not to say you're not healing all the way through, but acceptance is literally closing the door and saying, I've made peace with this. Now let's figure out what the next step is. You know, my ancestor altar started off with one shelf. This year, I have accumulated a whole wall. It is like I think I have 4 shelves now that go span a whole wall, and I'm continuously adding things. So there's another shelf that's coming. Acceptance to me is understanding that even though things are ending in the physical, or they're not going the way I need them to go in the physical, that there's still that spiritual connection to it, which means that even if our relationships with people are ending, I know that through spirit, through my ancestors, that I can heal from that, and I pray that they can heal from that. If I am losing my job and I'm grieving my job, I know that there's a place where I can go to my ancestors and say, I need you to look out for me financially, help me find another situation, because I know that relationship has not ended. If I'm dealing with a partner or a loved one who has transitioned, I know that death is not the end. Even though I cannot see them in the physical, I know that they're still nurturing me and still protecting me and still guiding me on the other side. And that gives me so much peace. And I think that's why a lot of times I do jump to acceptance for me, because it's a place that makes me feel very comfortable, because I know that for me, things are not completely closed. I think the part of it that gets most people is getting to that stage and knowing I won't be able to pick up a phone and talk to this person. I won't be able to go to this person's house and talk to them. But in the phase of spiritual connection, that communication is always there. That person is always there. That energy is always there. And literally, all we have to do is call their name and be receptive to the communication that comes through. It's one of those things where it gets very complicated if your faith is not strong, or you're struggling with your faith, because how can you acknowledge something in the spiritual if you don't believe that there is a spiritual aspect to it? It's hard. And I always tell people, you get there when you get there. The logic of it has to make sense for you when you're grieving. The stages have to make sense to you. You have to work through them and heal each stage so that you can come to a point where you do have peace. And it's one of those things that when you get there, it's actually beautiful, because you realize that within this pain, within this transformation, there is a new beginning. There is something that is reborn. Whether this is your outlook on life, whether this is your connections with other people in your family, whether this is finding a whole nother job that is going to support everything you need, there is an outcome that comes through that brings us to a new phase in life. And we have a choice on if this is where we want to go. For a few people, they're going to stay in the grief stage because they're not ready. The healing hasn't completed with them. So they're not ready for this new beginning, because if they jump too quick, they're going to take everything into this new beginning. So they have to stay there. They have to heal. For those that are coming out of this and you're moving into acceptance and healing, you understand that through the fear, through the confusion, there's something that begins that can be very beautiful for you. And you have a choice on how you choose to navigate that aspect of grief into your next phase in life. I'm sharing this with you guys because this year I've lost 6 people so far, I think. And I know so many of you have gone through the same thing. And it's like, what do I do? How do I get through this? How do I be okay? And I want you to know that there's support systems out there. Lean on your family. If you know your family's struggling with you, there's grief support therapy. If you don't want to deal with grief support, then there's therapists out there that can literally help you make sense of this. And it takes time. Don't rush. Be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to feel the stages, or as many as you possibly can, so that you can facilitate healing. And if you need someone, I'm always here. If you need to reach out, if you need to talk, I'm here. Trust me, I understand it. This has been a hard year. There's been so many changes, so many transformations that are coming in, and I'm a little bit discombobulated. And I'm finding my balance, but I always go back to my beliefs and to my ancestors to give me that foundation, because it helps me understand that if that connection is still there, I'm going to be okay. I know I'm going to be okay, because I know on the other side there are people that are keeping me strong, and they're protecting me, and they're nurturing me through this. And I'm so grateful for that. So extremely grateful. So for all of you that are dealing with cumulative grief or grief overload, I'm praying for you. I'm keeping you on my altars. I am just hoping that your process is easy and peaceful, and that you find comfort in the process, whether it's through your support, your family, or therapy. And if you need it, please, please, please reach out for it. There's no reason for you to struggle alone. There's so many people going through this, and there's so many people that understand it, and we can help. All right, you guys. So I love you all much. Please stay safe.